Yo, so we're back on the first episode of the Hype Hour after our hiatus, and today we have a special guest, and I always say special, but a very special guest, Akazi, in the building.
What's up?
Okay, so I know that lately you've mentioned kind of you've gone through different transitions, so I want to make sure that I get this correct as far as the way to introduce you. What are you going under these days, and kind of like, because I think being creative is all encompassing, but you know, sometimes you have different names and terminologies, and so what do you feel right now in your life like you would call yourself, or not call yourself, but or do you need to call yourself anything?
Are you talking like in terms of like an artist name?
Yeah, like singer songwriter. Well, I'm saying singer,
or like what
songwriters.
I do.
Yeah, what you do.
Man, it's funny. I used to think that Akazi was just like a one thing, like, oh, I'm just a songwriter, or oh, I just produce, or oh, I just want to be an artist. And like, it seems like on my journey so far, I've had to be everything. So I now think I'm just an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
And like, I just do a bunch of shit. Like, really, I think that's what it is for me. I have recently learned that I like building businesses. I like parts of it. Some parts I don't like.
What don't you like?
I don't like the nitty-gritty sit down in front of the computer and like figure out social media. Like, and I know that's like such a huge part of everything, but like, I run on such the fence with it because it's like half of it is important and then half of it just doesn't mean shit. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so
totally.
like sometimes I'm sitting there and I'm like, man, what kind of value does this actually even add to life? Like, I'm just putting a bunch of shit up on web pages and hopefully someone will pay me for it.
Yeah.
And like, it scares me with where we're heading, because like that's where we're heading is like just internet. And I'm like, I have this weird underlining fantasy dream that like we'll still be able to rock like they did in the 70s and 80s, and like people were going to shows, and like there was a community and there was movements behind everything. And like I'm very, this is so off from the question, but I'm just totally very like, what is gonna happen as entrepreneurs? Like, where are we gonna go?
Yeah. Well, I think about, like, I don't know if you've seen the new show or the new series, Social Dilemma.
I just watched it this week, and it was quite interesting, let me say.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy, right?
It's really actually crazy that a lot of these people who created everything that we use now are even like, shit, we messed up. Yeah.
It's iRobot 2020.
Yeah. Like we started everything that they said was gonna hurt us. Yeah. Like, we were responsible. Like, and what's even crazier is like, I don't know if you saw the part with the algorithm. Yeah. Where they were like, we create these algorithms, but very few of us actually know how they work, and they have a mind of their own. Totally. And they just do whatever they want with our information. And I'm like, oh, that's reassuring. Thank you so much for taking so much time to create this thing that we don't know about. Yeah.
And I think it's the knowledge, like when I think about like that coming out, I think at the beginning of the movie, somebody comes out and is like, I don't know if I'm able to say this on record yet. And
you can tell that there was like hella fear with them exposing the truth. Yeah. You could tell, like, they were like, what's going to happen? Do I need to talk to lawyers? Like, yeah. And I think about like,
I'm not really like a conspiracy guy, but I am in a sense of, when I think about all these things that happen in the world and things that happen at certain times. I mean, we could have very well seen this since the MySpace days. You know what I mean? Where it's just like, submit your information and boom. You know what I mean? I even saw where Facebook is implanted on people's phones as soon as they buy them. Right. You know what I mean?
That was in what country was that?
Oh man, it's escaping my mind. But yeah, I mean, it's happening though, you know what I mean? Yeah. And so when I think about like all these things and how there's, all this patternization, and also like really conglomerates just taking over, certain things. This has been happening since the beginning of time, though. Right. This is not something that is new. I think that it's actually something that is an evolution. Like I was telling my friend the other day, I was when you drive down to like Slauson and like, Compton and Watts and like the hood or whatever, like, yeah, it's changed because there's some gentrification and stuff, but realistically, there's no good food to eat. You know what I mean? There's really no gyms, no place to really. I mean, liquor stores are on every corner.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And so it's kind of this idea that
it's like they've planted low vibrational life for people to live in, and there's no hope of changing or getting out of that.
Yeah.
That they've created it.
Yeah.
And like what's crazy, so I also teach and I work for some extremely wealthy people in LA. Extremely wealthy. Like, and I've been working with their kids just on the side, but like I have seen the tops and bottom of LA. I feel like I can genuinely say that I have seen Skid Row and I have seen billionaires.
Totally.
And like being around both, it's just like it mind boggles me. Like we've literally created a space for people to stay in a cycle and we just leave them there.
Yeah.
And we say, good luck. The rest of and then there's this other side that's like, we have everything. We have more than we need. We're in abundance and stuff like that. And like, we will give to an extent, but we don't, and it's not their responsibility. It's not, but we've created these communities that can thrive and ones that can't.
Totally.
And then we try to say that we help these communities that don't thrive as much, but we don't.
Yeah.
We just talk about it and then we move on.
That's true. Yeah. I think the only way is to become an anomaly. And I think, an anomaly in a sense of like when I think of certain things that kind of crossed, I might be making up a word, but more so they cross paths, you know what I mean? In a way like, okay, music overall has the ability, it's taken me places that, from where I come from, I never thought I would, be, you know what I mean? And so like, or in conversations or with different people or, whether it's fashion or whatever, these are things that kind of cross. Like you can be in poverty and still do music. You can be at the highest level and still do music. You can be all these things. So I know one thing about your story is, you came to California with $700 in your pocket. So tell us about like the start, like how did you start? And
so I went to a prestigious school. I went to Berklee College of Music in Boston and I ended up having to drop out. I had maybe 15 credits left.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the school wouldn't help me finish. So I was like, shit. All right, I guess we're going to LA.
Was that due to money or is that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it was due to money. So I came out here on $700. I found a place where I could stay for $500 for the first month. And like, I was living with another artist and like, it was tough. We were like down in South Central. And it was me and like two other girls in this room. And we were just, I would write in the car. I would write everywhere I possibly could. I would have my friends come over and they'd bring their speakers and they set them up on the floor with the laptop and we would just make music.
Wow.
And that's kind of been like, I think the only thing that has not changed for me since when I moved here till now is I still create like as much as possible in terms of music.
Yeah.
But everything else has been like a whirlwind of like just life in LA has been crazy.
Totally. But prior to like your move to LA, you speak about Boston, but what really got your, wheels turning about like the music industry and just the music in general?
The music industry, I don't think ever got my wheels turning.
Yeah. What
actually got my wheels turning was the idea that I could write stuff and have people receive it in a space that was bigger than me. I don't think that's changed.
Yeah.
I think the more that I've been out in LA and I've spent time out here, the more I actually really dislike the industry.
Yeah. And as far as music goes, what were your influences like growing up?
Oh, Lady Gaga for sure.
Oh, really? Okay. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, the Monster Ball tour was like everything for me because I really liked theater. So I was really into theater in high school and I was like running choirs and writing for choirs. And then when I went to the Monster Ball tour in 2009, that was kind of like the click moment. Like Gaga gave a speech, which is funny. I just found it the other day, but she gave a speech that she was a part of the tour. And it was just like doesn't matter how much you have, wherever you're from, like if you have a dream, just go out, that kind of speech.
Wow.
And that was a clicking moment for me of being like, I will not stop until I become what I know I am.
Yeah.
And like it's been a challenge. It has definitely been a challenge to like continuously walk that out. You know, there's been so many forks in the road.
You talk a lot about just really self-reflection that you had in Portland, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, and coming back and now feeling like, okay, I remember this monk, actually, one of my friends, he went to a monastery and he decided that he was going to do this thing called Vipassana, right? So it's 10 days of you can't look at anybody, you can't talk to anybody, you can't really interact with anybody. So you're 10 days in there and they feed you. You can bathe, you can sleep, and pretty much you have all these things, but you can't talk to anybody, you can't eat, or you can't look at anybody in the face or whatnot. And he said that literally he went there for 10 days. The first day he was like tripped out, like, man, I don't know what to do, man. Like the second day he was tripped out. And the third day he started to get to a place where he could understand like his certain, like when he felt stress, like a stress would actually, like he would feel it in his leg or feel it in his back or feel it in certain areas and stuff, because he had a real understanding of himself. And then as the days went on, he just got better and better and better. And by the time he got out, I remember him telling me like, yeah, I got back to my car. And as soon as I hopped in my car, I'm driving, and then I look at my phone because I didn't tell anybody that I was leaving. And I look at my phone and there's hundreds of text messages. And as soon as that happens, I go right back into, feeling stress and back into the world again.
Yeah.
And he said that like the next day, it was just like, I'm back in the spinning wheel again. And how do I get, that peace back or whatever that I had, at the, monastery. And so really the question, now is like, now that you've had this kind of transition and stuff, listening to some of your music and, like where it's gone, do you feel like it's going to evolve, or what are your thoughts and like inspirations behind like what you think your music is going to sound like moving forward?
I will never know what my music will sound like going forward.
Okay.
I just don't.
Yeah.
I think that music is the one thing that I walk into with that blank space, and I say just whatever it is, it will be.
Oh, that's great. Yeah.
And like I've really tried to practice that with everything, because a lot of times in the past I would find myself stressing about whether or not this is a good song. And I just had to take that blinder off because it just stunts everything. So I walk in, whatever it will be, it will be.
Yeah.
And if it's good, it's good. If it's not, it's okay.
Yeah.
And we'll make another one.
Totally.
Like I also used to think too that like I didn't have like just an abundant flow of ideas. Now I'm like, I will always have an idea. I will never be out of ideas. And I genuinely feel like that.
I agree. Yeah.
But I think right now I'm actually like in the brink of the transition. So I don't know exactly where everything is going to go.
Yeah. So what is exciting you right now? I guess that's the question, is like, what is the thing? I mean, you dilly dabble in, different types of avenues of business, right? You have the Throne Room company, publishing company. How's that doing? And like, what are your...
It's been cool. It's been cool. We've been, right now, the team is still pretty small. Been opening it up to try and finding more creatives to work with, and we've also been more on the business side, looking for more people to kind of join on to see where we want to go with everything. Like,
and why did you start that? Like, what was the reasoning behind it?
No one would publish me.
Okay.
Yeah, I was like, it still mind boggles me, because I'm like, I write good shit. Yeah. Like that's not an issue.
Yeah. Do you ever think that you could be like the next Jay-Z? I mean, when I say next Jay-Z, it's more so like nobody would sign Jay-Z up until he was 27. Nobody knows that. I mean, people know that. It's
very interesting
but
that you said that.
But if you look into the research, it was, I mean, literally Dame Dash started Rockefeller because Jay-Z wouldn't get a deal.
Yeah. I 3 years ago, I was sitting in my Hollywood apartment, and I killed myself for years writing publishers, writing people at BMG, writing people at Atlantic, writing people at Warner, Universal. Everywhere I could possibly, any email I could get my hands on was sending music. Red Bull, all these things. Like, take a meeting with me. Everyone would take meetings with me. We love your music. No one would do anything with it. You know? Oh, we'll connect you to this person. I know everybody. I don't need you to keep connecting me. Thank you. Like, appreciate it. But, like, let's put it on the table and really get it sold. And what's interesting is I did that for a long time. And I remember I was so mad. I was so mad when I heard this. But I was... I went up to the Self-Realization Garden in LA.
Oh, really? I don't know where that is.
You don't? You need to go.
Please, I need
really
to.
Amazing.
Yeah.
A lot of really great nature. I think actually the only like true nature in LA. Everything else is always dead, and that place for some reason never is.
Wow.
So it's really great.
Yeah, I'm gonna need the information before you leave.
It's really great.
Yeah.
And I remember sitting there, and I heard so clearly from God, create Throne Room. The way to move forward is to create Throne Room. And I was like, I hate everything about that, because I just knew how much work that was gonna entail, right? I was like, God, what do you mean start Throne Room? You know? But I heard what the mission was for. Like, I know what the mission was for, and it's to have a hub for new creatives coming into the industry, so we can like, we're gonna restructure how business is done, how people treat each other, how art is created. Where
does the name Akazi come from?
Heard it in a dream.
Oh, wow.
When I was 18.
Yeah.
Actually. And it, it's evolved. I actually ran around with it for like 2 years, and I remember my friend at the time was like, why that name? And I was like, I don't know. I just heard it in a dream. Like, I look it up. Nothing on the internet for it. No trademarks on it. Nothing. And I'm like, okay, well, that's interesting. So I ran around with it for like 2 years, and then this Kenyan couple came to me with a Swahili Bible, and they were like, oh, Akazi is A-Kazi. It means, a hard worker, a work of service, and a work of art in God's kingdom. Wow. And I was like, cool. I like that definition. Because, I always knew with hearing the name, it was going to be one of those things that like, I would just going to have to fall upon why it was given to me, because I do feel like it was given to me. I don't feel like it's something that I was like, I'm gonna go by the name Akazi, and I have no meaning behind that. Like, it just kind of, it appeared in the dream, and then it was like on the journey to finding it. And like, what's actually really cool is a lot of the songs that I've been putting out this year have gotten a lot of love from Rwanda.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah, and like that, it's been actually really cool, because a lot of Rwandan.
Yeah, I would go with that. Yeah.
Okay, I don't want to be like rude. Because I don't know a ton about the culture, which I would absolutely love to know more about. But a lot of people from there have been sending me DMs, and they'd be like, "Oh, Akazi means this in our language, and like it's so cool. Like, we love your stuff and all this." And I'm like, "Oh, that's so awesome!" Like, I really feel like that whole group of people have gravitated towards the music just because of the name.
Yeah.
Which is like super fun for me,
Have you thought about taking a trip out there?
Absolutely.
Nice.
Would absolutely love to.
Yeah.
I feel like so far Africa has kind of picked up on the music more so than anywhere else, which has been cool.
Yeah.
I get a lot of DMs from people in Africa.
Yeah.
Which makes me really excited.
Maybe that's a calling as well. You know what I mean?
I would absolutely love to go.
Yeah.
I would absolutely love to go. Travel is one of those things for the next year or two that like I need to do.
Yeah. So your name coming from a Swahili background and more Rwandan, as we're quoting it.
Well, they're different.
Okay, but
yeah,
seeing it in a Swahili Bible, right? Or
that couple came to me and told me what it was,
mm-hmm.
In their language, and then in I can't think of the name of the Rwandan language off of the top of my head, because it was something that was like really hard to pronounce.
Oh, wow. Okay.
It was like really hard. They sent it to me and I was like, oh man, I'm going to have to sit with this one for a second. And
yeah.
then, I'm on like Google Translate trying to figure out like everything that they're sending to me, but it does mean work in their language as well. So there are like cross like similarities in terms of the Swahili definition and what people from Rwanda have been telling me. to me, I just know that it was a name that was given to me in a dream. And I think it's supposed to encompass like love and embodying that. But there's also like a sense of not pretty love. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, what I mean love, I mean like the dirty, gritty, hard stuff to get to as well.
Yeah.
You know, that's why a lot of my music is dark. A lot of it is very like working through those dark places to come to light. It's polarity of human existence.
That's nice. And I noticed that, your hair color is different today.
Yes, it is.
And I know with women, I mean, I don't know this, but I've heard on the street, now, our birdie has told me, but when women, change their hair or change mainly their hair, not just like anything, there's a big transition and, or something that has kind of motivated the change. And,
yeah, I was, a lot of the stuff that's coming out for the rest of the year is, I'm still in the pink hair. I still have the pink hair for all of that stuff.
What does the pink hair mean for you?
The pink hair was just a branding thing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was just a branding thing. And then, I was like, I started to transition out of it and I wanted to go back to my regular hair color. Because there just felt like a part of me that was like the pink hair felt like it was like, I'm putting this thing on for you guys to think that I'm a certain way. But I'm realizing, this goes back to the self journey, the self love, the self authenticity thing. I realized that I was using the pink hair as a source of hiding, if that makes sense.
Wow.
Like it's like an ego thing. Here's my ego. Here's what I want you to perceive. But underneath,
it's not who I am.
It's not who I am.
Wow.
So I dyed my hair a little bit darker than my natural because I was at my natural for a while. And like a lot of the stuff that's coming out, I'm actually in wigs for. Like that is not my natural hair, which is fun. I absolutely love it. Like I love coloring, styling wigs, doing stuff like that. Like it's been really fun to do. But I think moving forward, like I just finished in the past couple of weeks actually writing another EP. I have probably about 20 songs now that
Can
are
you
ready
name
to
drop
go.
like what who'd you work with on that? Or
I actually it was executive produced by Darnell Got It. Yeah. And that is
He got it.
He got it.
Okay.
He's got it. He's got it. I worked on some stuff with him and then I actually my team is not huge.
Okay.
It's not. I work with this guy named Martin Wave who is super genius. Like super genius. And I work with this guy named Nick Freitag.
Okay.
Super dope. And Chris Hannabutt. And I'm trying to think of everybody. All the visuals were shot by Sterling. He goes by directed by Sterling. And his last name's Hampton, Sterling Hampton. And we basically like, it was just little ideas that I had. It's evolving right now, like I've currently been trying to expand more for different directors so we can get some more ideas going and like, but the next steps are definitely, I think, going to be more authentic to me. It's a little bit more like hip-hoppy of a sound, a little more like pushed on that side, more grit to it. But I started out being like, I got to be pretty. I don't want to be pretty anymore because life's not pretty. you know? It's not. Like, that's what LA is. LA is pretty, but when I was home, I was like, shit's not pretty.
Yeah.
Shit's real. And I understand that taking the authentic path is a little bit longer, a little bit harder out here, especially out here. But I don't know. There's something in me that's like, I can't be anything other than what I am. Yeah.
No, totally. And as far as, I really like what you said about just taking off the wig or taking off the hair and stripping everything back down to its normal form. As far as like your team and your crew that you mentioned or whatnot, how did you go about acquiring them to just be a part of this idea of the throne room? Like you had the revelation, you came back and
right. I forgot to mention Andre Paxton. I'm so sorry, Andre. I love you. I took it on a whim. It was one of those things too that when you hear it, you just got to go. I honestly didn't even think that any of the producers that I work with would actually continue to work with me, because when I started it, I was like, I had like maybe 6 songs ready to go. I've been songwriting, but I was like, shit, I don't know, you know? And I just took it on a whim, you know? Getting the visuals done kind of really helped everybody kind of see the whole picture and the whole package come together, you know? And it kind of gave more people an incentive to jump on because this shit was good.
Yeah.
You know? And so, like, moving that forward, now it's like I had to produce myself first before other people came in and started producing for me.
Yeah.
And now I can still produce. I just would rather not, because I do so many other things. I run the mailing list. I run, you know, the meetings. I run the freaking emails. I run the writing. And I produce all the videos. I run the budgets for everything. I do a lot just to get my own artistry off the ground, because I've used my artistry as, like, I guess, the guinea pig artistry for Throne Room.
And what is the end all be all for Throne Room? Like, what is?
I want it to be a hub.
Okay.
It's a hub for creatives.
So you start with yourself,
Yeah.
and then you start outsourcing other songwriters, producers,
Yeah.
artists. Okay.
Yeah, you know, it's the biggest struggle so far has just been like, how do we get the funding behind Throne Room to really push it to where we can have a whole crew of writers and producers, and, you know. Like,
is that an investment? I mean, an investor, or is that like something like, I'm just going to ask you on a business tip, like, is that, you know, like, what do you see that being? Is that income and revenue that comes from like what you and the producers do, and, you know, on your solo, like if you got a sync or something, and like, what do you project?
Well, ideally, because I don't like owing people anything, it would be from sync placements and from, you know, just stuff that we've already done being sold. But I'm definitely open to people seeing the vision and wanting to invest in it. I think that it would be helpful to have capital behind it, but until we really get to that point, like, we still create good shit with nothing. We really do. Yeah. Like it's good. So, and I do honestly believe in it, you know?
Yeah.
So it's just, I think my mentality has always been just do good work, keep your head down, keep it moving, and just don't settle on the work. Don't settle on the quality of it. If it sucks, find the next thing that can make it better or make it just as good, you know? And I've had to really take my eyes off of the results and just focus on being good, because the results will come. Yeah. They'll come eventually. But I set a goal. I was like, okay, I want 50 songs done. 50 Akazi songs. Cool. I'm at 37. Okay, cool. It's 14 more. Let's go. You know? And then I'm just putting them all together, and then, you know, trying to find more directors to like bring in so we can crush everything and just put it out. That's great. I'm kind of modeling it after how Russ did a lot of things.
You said Russ?
Russ, yeah.
Okay. Who's Russ?
Rapper.
Okay.
He's a rapper. Yeah. Okay. He did everything independently starting out, and he really talked about how, I think it took him 11 projects and 96 singles. Wow. That's a lot.
But it's amazing. I mean, within that,
he never stopped. Yeah. He always talked about he was never like the most talented. He just did the work. Yeah. You know, and we're at a point where it's like, I just want to keep my head down and just do the work. Yeah. The epic quote from MJ, Michael Jordan, the GOAT, is, you miss every shot you don't shoot. You know what I mean? And so realistically, you just got to shoot a lot of shots, and, you know, you'll make some of those and you'll learn from some of those. What would you give, just like based on your knowledge? Because we have, you know, listeners, and with the like upcoming songwriter or whatever, what are the things that you would give them a checklist, right? You came from Portland, and it was like, boom, like I'm in the music, or I'm learning about the music industry in a sense of, or learning about what I need to do in order to do certain things. But you've learned things DIY. What can you give us like a cool like breakdown of like a DIY, like, hey, like if you were talking to yourself 10 years ago, you know, and you could set up Throne Room like 10 years ago, right? Mm-hmm. With your experience that you have now, and, you know, as far as an artist, like what would be like your checklist of like, hey, get this together,
get this together, and you'll be in a good place. Not to say that it's going to be, you're going to be, selling massive records and all this stuff, but you'll be in a good place. Like, this is what you need to know.
You talking like logistics?
Yeah, like how do you maneuver from a business standpoint, independently, as well as, just kind of
learn your paperwork.
Like what?
Learn your agreements, like learn your production agreements, learn film agreements, get everything signed. When you're working with producers, make sure you come in with, as an artist, especially if you're a female and you're on your own, like get in there and make sure that you have the correct paperwork and you have master agreements, licensing agreements. So when the record is done, especially if you're not able to pay up front and someone's just helping you on a whim, I get it, everybody's friends, put it on paper.
Wow.
Every time.
You guys hear that?
Put it on paper. I've lost so many records. And I've brought records money and had to take them off the table because of other people's egos. And if I would have just taken that little step to just get everything in writing, and, you get afraid, though, because you're like, oh, I'm by myself. I don't have a manager. I don't have all these things. They're not going to sign my paperwork. They don't even take me seriously. Like, that's how I used to feel.
Yeah.
So, and I've bitten the bullet on that. Definitely have.
Where do you get these agreements?
I write them.
Okay.
Yeah.
There you go.
Google search.
Let's go.
Google search
Okay.
them. They are up there. Find what works for you. Write them out yourself. That's what I do.
Okay.
Yeah. And people sign them.
Yeah.
They're legit. Like I've run a couple of them past some lawyers and been like, what do you think? And they're like, yeah, this looks fine.
Yeah.
And some people don't, they're very standoffish towards it. It just kind of is what it is.
Those are not the people that you should work with, right?
Yeah.
And then what else? So you're going through that list. That's a great one, by the way.
Thank you. Yeah, it's been a tough one to learn.
Yeah.
I think for new songwriters and new people coming into the industry, take the veil off your face. That's a huge one because it eventually will come off. The whole fantasy of everything eventually will come off, and the more you can get centered and the more you can get real with who you are and what you sound like and what you have to say, that's when things will make more sense. I started out trying to be like a Katy Perry or trying to sing all these things like a Jessie J or trying to be something that I'm not. And it's scary as hell to decide like, okay, I'm going to just do what I think is best. And it's terrifying every time, but everybody always says when the moment that they take that leap to just be who they are and what they think is best, that's when it's paid off.
Wow. And then a third advice.
Don't take everything too seriously, because if you're really in it for the long run, it's going to take time.
Wow. That's powerful. Yeah.
It's going to take time. And it used to not be fun. I'm still trying to find where it's fun for me again. And I think I've been trying to find that for the past couple of years, because this shit has not been fun. It's been work, and that's not what is going to get you out of bed every morning,
Yeah.
Like, this is my passion. It should be fun. And if it's not fun, it's not my passion anymore. It's work.
Yeah.
And for me, though, music is something that I'm going to live with for the rest of my life. And I've had to really look at myself and be like, or sit with myself and be like, are we doing this for the long haul? Are we going to, every time we come to the crossroads, are we going to quit or are we going to keep going? We haven't quit yet.
That's great. Cool. So now we're going to move to our last segment, which is going to be the hype hour moment, right? But it's actually the hype moment. So in the hype moment, I usually like to just shoot. And so what are 3 things that you're doing to get through this time in a way that can help others or whatever? Meaning like
checking in with my friends.
Boom. Okay.
Huge.
Yeah. Okay.
Connection, like real human, like I love you connection.
Yeah.
Real human connection. Not phone, not internet. Like, sit down, let's have a conversation, let's drink a beer, let's hang out.
Yeah.
Self-love, a lot of that.
Okay.
A lot of like.
What does that look like?
For me, it's baths.
Okay,
Yeah,
baths.
I really
nice.
like baths.
Okay, nice. Do you have like bath bombs and?
I don't do bath bombs, no, but we do like I do a lot of grounding baths. So like Himalayan salts, Epsom salts.
Do you ground a lot?
I don't ground a lot. I'm a water sign, so I'm very like dreamy, like in the clouds a lot. So it actually takes a lot of effort for me to like ground myself.
Okay.
And be like solid in structure because
Yeah.
I'm very like, we'll just go with the flow,
Yeah.
you know?
So Himalayan bath salt.
Yeah.
What else?
Huge. Is this my third?
Lavender?
Oh, no. Yes.
Okay.
Dr. Teal's comes in
Dr.
clutch
Teal's.
every time.
Ooh, okay.
Every time.
Yeah.
You know? Super cheap, but never fails. And yeah, there's just something about bath bombs that I just, like, I like them, but, like, you know, I think I'd rather do, like,
the traditional
bubble bath.
Okay.
You know?
Nice.
Yeah. And then third, I have, oh man, music has actually been getting me through a lot of this time. This year has been a little rough on me.
Yeah.
It's been hard. And emotionally, it's been hard. Emotionally, there's been a lot of changes, a lot of transitions, a lot of things that I didn't want to happened. And so now it's been more of like, let's just put it where we know how to put it. Because music is also a therapy tool for me.
Yeah.
Like, let's put it there, and let's keep plugging away at every day.
Nice.
So,
well, where can everybody find you?
I am on every platform under @RealAkazi. SoundCloud, it's Akazi Red. You can find me on every digital platform in terms of stores, Tidal, Spotify, Amazon Music. No, all set up by myself, man.
Boom.
Hard. It was a hard learning curve.
Yeah.
But yes, you can find me there and at realakazi.com.
Let's go. TuneCore or CD Baby? Or neither. Who are you going with? Distro. Okay, there it is. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much. And that ends the Hype Hour.